about leveraging technology for government service delivery. And the various discussions about e-governance services and how in Kerala and across the country government is using technology to provide service delivery at the doorsteps of the people. And for this session, we have session chair with us, Mr. K.P. Bakshi, Additional Chief Secretary, Planning, Government of Maharashtra with us. A round of applause for our session chair, please. I welcome sir on stage. We also have Mr. Mohammad K. Safarullah, Director, State IT Mission, Government of Kerala. I invite sir on stage. A round of applause for Mr. Safarullah. He has been a big support to all of for us in organizing this summit. Sir, we welcome you on stage. Then I invite Mr. Zach Liam, Director of Technologies, Asia Pacific and Japan, Akamai Technologies, on stage. I invite Mr. Oleg Petrov, Senior Program Officer, Transport and ICT from World Bank. I invite Mr. Petrov on stage, sir. A warm welcome and a round of applause for Mr. Petrov from World Bank. Now I invite Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, Managing Director, Health and Public Services, Government Relations and Corporate Affairs, Accenture India. A round of applause, please, for our speaker from Accenture. Then I invite Mr. Shashank Thaplial, Director, Sales, Government Vertical, Enterprise DB. Sir, we welcome you on stage. A round of applause for Mr. Shashank, please. And last but not the least, I invite Mr. Rajiv Ranjan, Deputy General Manager, ICICI Bank Limited, New Delhi. A round of applause for Mr. Ranjan. Mr. Ranjan is from ICICI Bank, which is our principal banking partner for the 10th eINDIA at Kovalam. So with this, I hand over this session to our Honorable Session Chair, Mr. K.P. Bakshi.
Introduction, starting from myself. I am K.P. Bakshi, Additional Chief Secretary, Planning and Development Commissioner, Maharashtra. On the right, we have Mr. Thaplial. Mr. Thaplial is Director, Sales, Government Vertical. Then we have Mr. Sanjeev Gupta. We have Mr. Safirullah, who is Director of IT Mission. On the left, we have Mr. Zek, who will make the first presentation.
Yes, I will.
You'll make the first presentation. Then we have Mr. Petrov. And finally, Deputy General Manager of ICICI Bank from Delhi. So we'll start the first session. This is leveraging technology for government service delivery. So we'll start with Mr. Zek first. Okay.
It's a beautiful day today in Kovalam, and this is the first time I'm making a presentation here in India, and it's a very, very beautiful resort. I was talking to my colleagues, and he was saying it's actually a crime to be stuck here in a conference rather than enjoying the beach, okay? But we'll get to that later. So, I'm the Director of Technologies in Akamai. What this means is that, and my role primarily focus is on helping big customers, governments, banks, architectures or systems to be able to mitigate what the future actually holds and to be able to help them innovate the business and to provide e-services, right? My background has always been in security and infrastructure. I was based out of Zurich for 2 years. I was helping a lot of banks there and a lot of governments. I've moved back to Singapore and helping APJ, Asia Pacific and Japan, governments and banks as well, right? So at any one time, please feel free to stop me. I believe this is a very interactive session. I seem to hear an echo. Is it okay for you guys? It's okay? All right, thank you. I boiled this down agenda into just 3 big parts. One is the web performance or the application performance. Two is web security. And third, who is Akamai, what we do, and why we're different. So first of all, web experience is actually very, very important. So a lot of public sectors that I talk to, a lot of governments I talk to would say that, hey, it's actually not that important because constituents would have to use the application anyway. That is partially true. For a few governments that I talk to, government agencies that I talk to, this is actually getting more and more important. Because to them, as they transcend beyond the paper and application and post, the snail post, they are moving towards the internet where they're doing applications. For example, text, filling out text forms online. If you want to fill up your education, you're submitting an education cert online. So all this is important that your constituents, your users, are able to perform that functions. Now, I'm a Singaporean. So on April 15th, I think, every year, we got to submit our tax. And without fail, every year, the last 3 days will be a huge spike in traffic that the servers might not be able to make it, right? So far, it's been okay. But if you think about it, if let's say the entire country, the entire service is inundated for the last 2-3 hours where your constituents are filling forms online, right? Because it's just a cutoff time. You need to be able to assure consistent performance, user experience, availability, even during times of extreme peak, right? It's no longer the good old days where you're okay, you go to the post office and stuff, right? We need to move towards that. Websites and everything on the internet, however, is getting very complicated. You've got very large pages, heavyweights. So instead of having just 100 kilobyte of base HTML, you've got half a megabyte, 1 megabyte, right? And then you've got a lot of maybe AJAX calls at the end, very dynamic HTML calls or HTML5 calls. How do you ensure experience is assured? How do you do that? Then you've got connectivity. Are you going to be on edge network? Are you going to be on LTE, 4G, wireless, WAN, LAN? How do you assure that as well? And the last of all, browser fragmentization and system fragmentization. It used to be in 95, when there's a lot of PCs and laptops and so forth. But right now you've got tablets, you've got iPad minis, you've got iPad, whatever, big size stuff, right? You've got Asus, you've got Androids, you've got HTC, and so forth. How do you ensure that your constituents are able to have a good user experience? Those are big challenges that not only governments and public sectors are facing, but also enterprises like banks and commerce, retail, and so forth. Web security is also incredibly important. I will not delve too much about this, but suffice to say, this is gaining a lot of traction, a lot of attention today, right? It's not a secret. For the past 3 to 4 weeks, Hong Kong government has been under attack. It's also not secret, in 2011, the Singapore government was under attack. It's not a matter of if, it's actually a matter of when. And what I hope to share with this is to share with you what are the certain type of attack vectors that we actually saw when we helped some of these governments defend these attacks. Now, Internet of Things is here, and it's going to grow. By 2020, there are going to be 30 billion devices out there. 30 billion in 2020. As of today, there was a study done, there are already 100,000 smart devices or appliances that are actually already compromised. In an attack about 6 months back, they actually did a survey, or they did a post-mortem on the IP addresses that were actually attacking a particular application. And they found out a few of them were actually coming from a fridge. Can you imagine if, let's say, as a CIO, as a CSO, in the next 1 year or even less, you're going to tell your boss, the CEO, that, hey, we're being attacked by, let's say, for example, TVs. From a technical standpoint, how would you be able to defend against such attacks? Today, we're already being attacked by multiple PCs, devices, handheld or otherwise. In the future, we're going to be attacked by fridges, microwave ovens, cars, and so on and so forth. Two big things. One, how do you scale? Scale in terms of your operating processes, that means your people. How are you going to keep them happy? How are they going to help you defend against all of these? How can you upskill them, up-level them? That's one. Two, how do you scale in terms of bandwidth, in terms of resources? The largest attack right now, it's probably about 300 to 400 gigabits per second. Right now. However, when these devices get on, going more and more mainstream, what will the size of attacks be like? Is it going to be 1 terabit? Is it going to be 2 terabits? What kind of infrastructure and strategy do you have in mind to be able to mitigate all of this? Scale in terms of processes. You should not be panicking just because an attack comes into play. A particular government agency that I was working with, as soon as somebody says something on the internet, they will get a lot of people to look at the traffic. We're talking about hundreds of people to look at, hey, monitors like, should I be worried about the attack? What can I do with the attack? And so on and so forth. That's a typical reaction. But you think about it. These are your staff who are not operational. They are mainly consultants, they are mainly admin people, and so on and so forth. They are not cybersecurity trained. Just because somebody said something on the internet, you are getting all your people to marshal, to defend, to look at these attacks. Question, is that effective? Is that efficient? And what does it do for your people, your staff, right? So all this has to be taken into account. Then one of the best things that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, is what is the intelligence you can gather from these attacks, right? So this is an actual slide of an actual attack against one of the customers that we have. And you definitely cannot see this from anywhere in the room. I can't even see it well. But you will notice that from this actual deck, this is a multi-vector attack. What this means is that when a particular adversary decides to attack your site, they are never about one single vector. It's not like I'm going to SYN flood you to death. No, it's not. It's going to be a mixture of layer 3 attacks, the SYN, the ICMPs, and the UDPs. It's going to be very complicated SQL injection attacks, cross-site scripting attacks. In the Olympic Games itself, in the London Olympic Games, we saw and defended 23 million attacks. 23 million. Out of 40 different attack vectors. So what you're looking at are attacks coming to you of very different vectors. In an OSI world, you're talking about layer 3 above, layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7 attacks. So your strategy when you are safeguarding an agency is to think about how you're going to scale your defenses. For this particular attacks, for this particular agency, there was no chatter. That means to say, from a threat intelligence standpoint, they did not hear any like IRC channels or chat groups. They were talking about attacking this government. They were not. It was very silent. It was very coordinated. And when they attacked, they were doing various things. They were doing DDoS and they were doing layer 7 attacks. And you might like to know that DDoS attacks, although they are very sexy right now, over 80% of all DDoS attacks will come with something more malicious. That means to steal your data, change your data. It's not only about DDoS, right? It's the entire web security posture. The future landscape, I alluded this a little bit. It's about increasing size, frequency, where they're coming from, their better targeting, complexity, and persistence. All of these are very self-explanatory and intuitive. But I'd like to talk about increased persistence. In today's world, when somebody, and we know, right, APT is Advanced Persistent Threats, the keyword actually is persistence. How when your adversaries want to attack you, they will try multiple ways to get you. How would a government agency be able to scale with that? So who is Akamai? I was talking to a colleague just now, and the impression that Akamai has is of the traditional world. That means to say we are doing streaming, we're doing media. But what Akamai is actually a global distributed platform. We are in over 92 countries, and right now over 150,000 servers in about 800 cities and 2,000 over networks. So what this means is that this is the world's largest cybersecurity defense platform. I talked about the web experience. So one of Akamai's core is to accelerate web performance across the internet. We do it via multiple ways, technologies, but we can revolve it around with maximizing the layer 3 redundant routes. We can do maximizing and optimizing the transport protocols, and as well as the layer 7 techniques, right? I'll be happy to dive straight into this later. You can call me anytime. But more importantly, I'd like to introduce this concept called a DMZ0. Now, what's the unique feature about the technology? It's actually not. It's a proxy and it's a WAF. Pretty much that's it. But it is architecture that makes it different. When I flew in from Singapore into India, the Indian immigration gateway would check me, right? Hey, do I have a valid India visa? Does my picture look the same as my passport? Whether I have any criminal record in India and probably in Singapore, and so on and so forth. They check me in India. Imagine if the India government has a way to manage, control, and operate 150,000 immigration gateways in the world, in 92 countries, such that anybody who wants to come into India will have to be checked at your country of origin. That means to say, I get checked in Singapore by the exact same policy that the Indian government decides to put in place before putting me on a plane into India. And if I'm a legitimate user, that means to say I'm a tourist or business user or have a reason to visit India, and my record is clean, they actually put me on an even faster plane into India. Then the India government here, the immigration, can check me again. Maybe a finer detail of checks. But what you have, it's a very, very scalable distributed defense architecture in the world. Another example, during the latest Ebola crisis, right, which is currently going on, if you fly into the US, you get quarantined for 21 days in US soil before they allow you to go back into the country. But you think about it, if let's say somebody is infected, you're already on US soil. Versus, hey, wherever you come from, I check your health records, whether you've traveled to South Africa, and so on and so forth, whether you have red hair, whether you have green hair, whether you have criminal records, before allowing you to put you on a plane and then coming into India, and you check them again. Straight away, there are multiple advantages. One is that your people, your immigration, can focus on a lot more higher value added checks. Right now, there can be a big queue where the normal checks are in place, which you have to do them, but you need not do them in such an architecture. You check them there, and then you come back here, you check them for other stuff. Your people are more skilled, you can train them on more In the cyber world, you can train them forensics, threat intelligence, incident response, APT, fraud, and stuff, which right now it's very difficult to do because there's so much traffic, right? The other thing, what you can do with this is that you can actually enhance your experience. The third thing is that you can optimize your processes. If, let's say, there was a 1 terabit of attack, your teams know exactly what to do because maybe 90% of them is already blocked there, and you just have to filter the 10% or the 1% or what they actually are. Are they really good traffic or are they bad traffic? So this is a graphical representation. I did not do this, by the way, but it's quite funny. So you have your attackers being barricaded and checked at the perimeter. Now, the concept is not new. We know it. It's called DMZ. The difference is that this DMZ is not in your data center, but you can still manage your own policies and everything that you want, your configuration and everything. Now, key benefits, and these are key learning experience that these government agencies and these banks that I work with, that they share. First of all, there should be end user experience even during an attack. One of the best things I learned was from one of the US government agencies. They were actually attacked by a 200 gig attack. This was a few years back. One of the best things that they did, and they told us, is, hey, even during an attack, keep the attack running. Do not stop the attack. Let me repeat this. One of the US government agencies was being attacked by a 200 gig attack. And the agency told us, keep the attack running, do not stop the attack. We were very shocked. Why? Because normally a customer would say, stop the attack, stop it right now. But the government agency said, no, keep it running. And the reason I found out later, and I learned a lot from this, is that they said, if let's say the press knew about it, that they were under attack, they would actually, put on the front page, or this agency was under attack, and so on and so forth. At that time, the president was talking about some nuclear disarmament talks, which was really important. From a political and country standpoint, they want to keep that on the front page. They do not want to have a DDoS attack come in and dilute the messaging to the country. Thank you. I've got 2 minutes. So I thought that was really, really, really good. It was really insightful. That means to say, from a government agency standpoint, you probably want to have control over these attacks. That means to say, when an attack comes in, you want to be able to message a communication. You want to be able to report to the ministers when and how and stuff. You might not, you probably want to stop the attack, but you may not want to stop it there and then, because you want to preserve the impression that your site is not under attack. Of course, the site must be functioning, okay? So you need to have a lot of muscle to fight this. I talked about this, about minimizing operational team fatigue. That was important for a few agencies already right now. It's not scalable. Every time there's an attack, you go into a fire drill, everybody gets activated to look at what? Monitors. There's nothing you can do about it. So how do you think about that, right? And intelligence and insight to the threat attacks. You want to be able to know what headers, where they're coming from, what is the payload, how they're going to attack you. And you want to compare it against different agencies. You want to compare it against the last few years. Is there a particular trend? Is it a bigger attack, right? So all these are very big learning experience that I've gathered from my customers that I hope you'll find useful. I'll be around today. If there are any particular details that you want to know, I'll be happy to talk about it, minus the names of whatever governments and agencies that, that has shared this with me. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, thank you. In a very short time, he has tried to explain the complexities of web security. It's a subject very important to all of us. Those who are working in the government, it's more important for us because we are accountable to people for every rupee that we spend. Whether it is financial issue, whether it is defense, external affairs, policies, everywhere we have to make sure that web security is given top priority. With this now, go to Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, Managing Director, Health and Public Services, Government Relations and Corporate Affairs, Accenture India.
Sound is clear or there's a lot of echo? Yes, thank you so much. Friends, the topic is of something very interesting in this journey of India as on today. If you see, the topic is about how we can use the technology for our different service delivery models. How this technology can play a role, both from as a player or as an enabling environment for growing the overall society. Let me just pick up a point of view. What is India today? Is India a same country which is looking for only economic growth of 7% or 6% in some of the important metropolitan towns? Or is it India which is 700 million population in the rural areas or so-called semi-urban areas, thriving for some important opportunities, thriving for equality? And this transformation is the right stage right now where India is. If this is the India which is transforming and creating a huge amount of demand in the society, what is that we need to fulfill this particular area of opportunity from our side, being the part of government or being the part of industry? How we see this? This is what India as on today is. If you also see the dimension of the economic, which has changed from the primary to a secondary and now to a huge amount of tertiary sector, growing very well, huge amount of employment opportunities are created. Still, many of those young youth are not having the right opportunity in the economic sector, unemployment. And that too leads to underdevelopment, and that's to lead to poverty, and that's to lead to a crime and other stuff. This cycle needs to be changed by looking into the dimension of technology. Another India today is exposed to the communication, exposed towards the telecom, exposed to beyond India. And that exposure is creating understanding. Look, you cannot just give me whatever you think. I want this. Do you have something to give me? Be the government or be the industry. The citizens, the clients are asking this question because they know what is available in India and beyond India. That exposure is there. This is the reality. This is the India. And if this is the India, how we as in people around us from the government or from the industry should look into this. Is this a danger zone for us or this is a golden opportunity for us? Well, if you see today, any employment which is created directly by a technology platform, it creates 3 times employment opportunity indirectly because of these services. So that means your one small effort of technology enables 4 times the growth journey of a family. If that's the case, then I think we need to find out that how this technology can go inroad into the system of us that we are trying now today. So citizens, how you make your business model, I'm using a word from a business side to the government also, sir. The clients are citizens. So if it is an administrative role to see that the law and order or the administrative controls or the mechanism of process is controlled, it's changed. Now, when we look from the government side and from the industry side, we see what is my client is expecting from me, and how we can make clients satisfied. So all the governance is actually becoming a citizen-centric. You pick an example of a healthcare, you pick an example of education, you pick an example of industry, commerce, social benefit schemes. Everything is now centered around the citizens. And if you're trying to re-establish a model where your strategy and implementation of the strategy is around the citizens, things change drastically. And this is what is happening right now. So India today is creating a different level of demand for India tomorrow. So the tomorrow's perspective of citizen needs to be now looked into. And if I see an angle of, the technology, and especially from the perspective of social, mobility, analytics, cloud, that we call as SMAC, is changing. One small statistics. In this last election, where BJP got a huge majority and they frame a government, I don't know how many of you guys know or not, approximately 200 million communications through SMS were done to the citizens by various political parties. 200 million. One more statistics. Approximately 16 to 20% of the seats transformation towards winning probability was increased because of social media. Approximately 16 to 20%. By 2020 or 19, this might go up to 30 to 40%. This is what India is about. India is not looking into that level of understanding of the erstwhile technology platforms. They are looking into the new technology which is available. Another statistics from a business point of view. $225 billion opportunity lies on the social, mobility, analytics, and cloud worldwide. And if you just see the Digital India campaign, which Honorable Prime Minister has started, it says about 1,13,000 crores of investments to come in, which is approximately $25 billion. If you see these numbers, they are not just talking about of an area that, okay, something will be happening. No, it's not. It's a big transformation happening by using a technology right now. Today, when we see in the rural areas, the banking sector, the insurance sector, the Department of Post, the army establishments, the primary schools are using huge amount of technology, and the opportunity lies to establish more and more in that. But are those technologies really being used? It's a secondary question. The primary is they are there. How to make it much more usable is a challenge that we need to address right now. Make it much more meaningful for them. Let me pick up another point from the perspective of the technology in the governance and delivery of the services. When we say we are having a potential of urban, the potential of semi-urban, educated, literate enough to at least use some of these applications or some technology pieces. Is it sufficient? Is it okay to have, for example, Government of India have initiated a cloud platform, a mobile applications platform, or a national highway of optical fibers connecting 250,000 villages around the country. Are these enough? Or schools will have all connectivity around it. Is this enough? My answer to this is it's absolutely not. Because we as a country are very different. Each and every individual's perspective, demand is very different. A person who is in a tier 3 town might be able to use an application, but at a block level, he or she will like to go physically and get the services done by the government authority. So that means, as we are different, both the technology and the physical has to go parallel. The interface of an application or interface of a physical has to be there parallelly. But then we cannot have a bias. That by application, the services are delivered in 24 hours. By physical, it is delivered by 24 days. That differences cannot be happen. So as soon as a physical interface takes place, the backbone of the service delivery is so fast and enabled that you are able to deliver the same parameters via an application or via physical aspect of it. Because we are different. Every person in India is absolutely different, not compared to the other side of the world. We need to have this design in the technology-enabled part clearly mentioned. Second, if this is an opportunity, then whether citizens would really like to have a lot of technology to come into play? Answer could be no. But answer could be yes also, if it direct benefits me, if it is fast, if it is makes the transparency and accountability in the system, and it is giving an equality to all the people of mankind here in India. If this is the area where the technology can help us, the answer is absolutely yes. But if none of these parameters are matched, answer could be absolutely no. Because then I'm not interested what you're bringing a technology, because it's not benefiting directly to me. If it is not so easy to operate, if it is not creating a transparency and accountability, if it is not creating an equality, sorry, then I'm not of your gang. I'm a rural guy, I will be easy sitting there easily. But these all parameters needs to bring in. And then once you bring all these together, the technology changes drastically. I would like to also submit one more thing. We are going to have a huge transformation in areas of healthcare, education, because the technologies are there. I don't want to talk about which type of technologies. Everybody knows about it. And there are a lot of technology demonstration there in the exhibition center. The idea is what my erstwhile gentlemen talk about, the data privacy. You know, the challenge that we face today is not purely from how fast it is, how good it is, how directly benefiting to me, but it's also important that my right on the particular data, like a property rights, is ensured. How you make sure that your data is ensured to your level. Fortunately, I had a meeting with the Honorable Minister of HRD, and then she was talking about a setting up of a database from a cradle to the graveyard. What I mean by this is any individual of an Indian citizen from a class 1 certification or a death of birth certification towards the certification of any kind are there in one database centrally. Anybody can plug in, get this data already vetted by the Ministry of HRD. And that's the way it has to be looked into. Imagine the database is going to be created and how are going to ensure the data privacy for that. How are you going to secure the web security that you're talking about earlier? That's a big one. And we need to address that parallelly when we create these type of systems on board. So last submission is, I'm pretty hopeful that today when we see the Digital India campaign, it enabling all those environment. When we see Mr. Modi having 6 million fans or followers on the Facebook, which is the largest in the world, I'm pretty hopeful that this generation, who's going to come in, and the government which is available right now, definitely transform the use of technology for the governance in this. We have many examples already put in place in Maharashtra. We have examples in Chhattisgarh, in Haryana. We have examples in Delhi state itself, in Kerala. I think all these examples clubbed together make a beautiful story of a transformation journey for us. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I believe that we can do wonders. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev. States have enacted the Public Service Delivery Act. Maharashtra is the next one which is going to do it in the next 2-3 months. Imagine the amount of challenges that it has thrown, because every state has accepted at least about 50 to 100 services to be put online. Maharashtra, Rajesh, I suppose it's about 50 to 60 for Maharashtra to start with. So we'll go up to 100. So the challenges that are there for the technology sector, for the people working in the e-governance sector, in the private sector, and also in the government, is very important. Mr. Sanjeev has been working for Accenture India, and he has been tying up with Government of Maharashtra at various levels, SIDCO, then Education Department, other things, and he knows the complexities that he has to face, especially when dealing with the government. So with his talk on the technology side, we'll now move on to Shashank Tapalyal, Director Sales.
Good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be a part of the first session of an event like eINDIA, where I'm seeing a lot of, eminent dignitaries, my friends from the industry, and delegates. So the topic of today's session is leveraging technology for government service delivery. And I would like to start, like I have been discussing with, at different state levels with the people who are driving the e-governance initiatives in respective states. And one of the key learnings that I have imbibed is, and I'm sure that stands true in today's scenario, is that information and communication technology is not an end, it's a means for an end. And it is not simply computerization of the processes. You have to apply your knowledge, your experience. A lot of process re-engineering is required to ensure that, the government service delivery is effective. So, what is required is strategic application of knowledge and innovative use of available technology to provide governance services to all sections of the society. We can use technology for smart governance. The concept revolves on using technology to facilitate and support better planning and decision making. So, when we talk about the service deliveries, a lot of initiatives have been taking place, like you have to electronically deliver all the citizen-centric services, all the mandatory citizen-centric services for a country like India. And there are several initiatives like CSC, Statewide Area Networks, SDCs, that have come out, and various projects like e-District, where a lot of capacity building initiatives have been taken by the respective state governments and the central government, like setting up of state e-mission teams in respective states. So other initiatives are mobile governance. I think ICT is important for decentralization and participatory democracy. So the road ahead is to create a participatory, transparent, collaborative environment, accessible and available to everyone, truly reinforcing the principle of citizen-centric governance. Replication of successful e-governance models, and also when it comes to e-governance or service delivery, I think it is very important to use not a proprietary technology that locks a customer to a particular technology. And at times, because I will tell you what EDB is into, but I get requests from many of the customers when things have gone totally out of hand because they were not proactively consulting, and maybe the dependency was on few of the people, so they were not able to arrive on the right technology. And after 4 or 5 years, having experienced the problems on, commercial technology, they have been. But sometimes it's too late, but still, I think it's always better to have alternate solutions to proprietary technologies. So, Enterprise DB basically deals into PostgreSQL, which is the most open, secure. When I say open, it's an open source. It's a true open source database because it is not owned by any proprietary company. We don't own the PostgreSQL project. It has got many Oracle-like features which helps us in providing customer support wherever customer wants to move from any commercial or proprietary database. We are there to help it. In fact, in India, 70 to 80% of our business is only from customers who have migrated from a commercial database technology to PostgreSQL. So the Postgres dilemma for enterprises, when I'm talking about enterprises, I'm talking about the big government organizations also. So Postgres has got fast deployment cycles, a lot of innovations are there because whole lot of community across the globe is working on providing new features in that database. You have support of thousands of developers, advanced features, no vendor lock-in, it is low cost. But it is lack of direct control and support. Tomorrow if customer wants to have professional services associated with PostgreSQL, he can't go and search the web for finding the community members. So that is where we come into picture, Enterprise DB. We employ 60% of the people who invented this database. In fact, Bruce Momjian, who was the founder of this PostgreSQL community, is employed by us. We are the biggest contributor to Postgres community version also. And what we have done is we have built in certain tools and utilities over and above the PostgreSQL database. And many of the customers ask us, are surprised how we do that. See, the development efforts of Enterprise DB development team is augmented by the development efforts of the whole community, which works very closely with us because the founders of PostgreSQL are appointed by us. So the best and the most used features globally on any commercial databases are shortlisted, and we over and above the PostgreSQL community version, we deploy those tools and utilities so customer gets, because today customer says that why I should pay for 100 features in a commercial database if I need only 10 of the features. So that is where we come into picture, and it helps us in cutting the cost. We have a product roadmap because our product releases are also in sync with the Postgres SQL community versions which are coming. So now with Enterprise DB, you get indemnification control, enterprise class features and tools, product roadmap, services and training, which is very important for capacity building, and 24/7 support, which is complemented or which is over and above the advanced features which Postgres provides, because the scalability or the addition of new features in Postgres community version keeps on happening. So that is where I am saying that advanced features, no vendor lock-in, fast development cycle, thousands of developers, and a low cost. So I'm also very happy to inform all of you. I mean, you would have also got mailers from Enterprise DB that now we are into the leaders quadrant of the RDBMS, which is a big achievement. We are in the league of Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, IBM. Now, so I just wanted to give a snapshot of what EDB can do. So one is the PostgreSQL. We work on PostgreSQL, which is the world's most advanced open source database. And we provide subscription for PostgreSQL community version also, which is known as Postgres Plus Standard Edition, which has got a community version as a software plus tools and utilities which are proprietary to Enterprise DB. Postgres Plus Advanced Server, this is, so what EDB does is the database which we provide is known as Postgres Plus. Plus why? Because it is there are many things which are in addition to the community version. So Postgres Plus Advanced Server, this is our, you can say, our key product which we position at the customer's end who wants to migrate from any proprietary technology. It has got database compatibility because it has got 8 to 9 language support. It has got Oracle compatibility interface built in at the database engine. That means you don't need to, if you're working on, say, specific technology, you don't need to de-skill your developers and administrator and then again reskill them on Enterprise DB, because we have language support. So anybody who's working for, say, example, in Oracle, he will just feel that he's working on Oracle, even on our database. So this database we provide in Enterprise Edition, which is our subscription. So the advantage is that we don't charge for a core-based pricing. It is only a socket-based pricing. License cost is 0. So I'm also going to show you what is the drastic cost saving that comes to the customer. It is a socket-based. It is license cost is 0. Subscription is basically a combination of software program, which is Postgres Plus Advanced Server, software support services, software maintenance, and certain tools and utilities which are proprietary to EDB. Postgres Plus Cloud Database, which helps in elastic scaling, automatic backup, fast and easy deployment. Then on the management side, we have Postgres Enterprise Manager, which helps you to manage the distributed database instances, whether they are working on a bare metal or a virtual environment. So this is very key. See, the biggest strength of Enterprise DB is that we don't have anything in bits and pieces. Our full product provides things like Postgres Plus Postgres Enterprise Manager for distributed management of your databases. It has got migration toolkit, which is like a utility which you have to run on your database. You have to take a schema of your database, run this utility. The results will give you a graphical composite index. If a rating is from 8 to 10, that means your database can migrate very easily with minimal workarounds or 0 workarounds. So that comes included in our product. Even the geospatial support, we don't have a separate product for that. Postgres Plus, Enterprise Edition even comes with a geospatial support, unlike other databases where you pay for a core-based licenses, then you pay support services charges, and then you pay also for enterprise-wide management or for the geospatial support. We have security, which is a big concern for people. We have security features built in our database. In fact, I would like to say that our database is being used. We are doing some joint work with CARE, which is a defense laboratory in Bangalore. And CARE in 2012 and 2013, from 11 to 13, was our second biggest customer in India. So on high availability, we have got EDB failover manager, which is for automatic failover of if your primary fails, your secondary will take over. Then we have got active passive replication and single master replication. We have also got active replication in a multi-master replication. All these things, all these features in a single subscription. Then the best part is that for performance management, we have got utility which will help you arrive at the best usage scenario for your kind of database usage. I mean, we have got a SQL profiler which you have to activate and run on your databases to see, like, what are the slow moving parts, why that problem is coming, what is the usage pattern of yours for that database. So it will help you in arriving at the best database usage scenario. So this slide is very important. You see here, so we have got two subscription, which I said. One is Postgres Plus Standard Edition, and the other one is Enterprise Edition. There is nothing optional. Everything is coming in Enterprise Edition. If you talk about single master replication, multi-master replication, failover manager, everything is there. PostGIS support, everything is there. On services and support, we provide 24/7 support. If you buy a subscription, we remotely help you in managing your databases. But if you want somebody who can 24 hours tune your database, help you in, like table partitioning and all other things, you can even take our on-site database architect. In fact, Enterprise DB is the only multinational company where everything is controlled from India, even the product development, product releases, support globally. US is our biggest market, North America is our biggest market, but we are supporting them from India. So these are the services. Architectural health checkup is somebody is, suppose in certain cases for service delivery on e-governance projects, people have problem. I get requests from the customer that, the application is not working properly, things are not moving at the required pace. Then we do an architectural health checkup where we check the health of the complete databases. This is an exercise which we conduct on man-days basis, which we can do. So we have got a plethora of complete variety of professional services which are there on PostgreSQL databases. The projects running on our support, so I'm sure not many of you will be knowing, but 70 to 80% of the applications hosted at national informatics, national data centers are supported by us, which is more than any other databases, though the value is 10% of the other databases. But if you talk about the projects, we are hosting the maximum project. We are supporting the maximum projects. So Sartan and Vahan project is there, Maharashtra Land Records, Common Integrated Police Application, now CCTNS is running on our databases. Public distribution systems in 5 of the states is running on this. Commercial taxes, I get requests from people who say that whether this feature is there or not, from smaller states. So we always give example of Jharkhand VAT, where we have implemented, Tamil Nadu Commercial Tax Department, which is one of the biggest states, there it is running fine. Arogya Rajasthan, so we are also supporting many health management information system related projects. So couple of opportunities are currently running, but Rajasthan state has standardized on our databases where they're using CDAC application. E-Office, E-Hospital Care, which I just mentioned, marriage registrations, Rajasthan E-District, E-Procurement, E-Panchayat, these are the projects. So when we talk about EPDS, Delhi, Haryana, Chandigarh, Pondicherry, Andhra Pradesh, and maybe 1 or 2 more states will come into this. Then when we talk about e-hospital, it is running in AIMS and RML, which is an NIC application. Then we have also now running in TNHSP, which is Tamil Nadu Health System Project. So, I just wanted to highlight that this is the third phase where we are going, where rest, all other technologies have changed. They have changed from Sun Solaris to Red Hat. They have changed from Sun servers to Dell servers. They have changed from Glassfish to JBoss. But PostgreSQL, our database is there for the last 3 phases. For the last 9 to 10 years, we are there. Now, applications built on Progress, we also asked a third party to do a research and see there's a usage pattern for us. We saw that the maximum usage is for a reporting application, 39% is for mission critical applications. So there were multiple options. So the scenario is like this: if you add up these percentages, it may not come to 100%, but these are the patterns of where our database was used, the kind of applications. And the reasons for selecting us was, the biggest reason was lower overall IT spend, because they can use the money which they save in other technologies like cloud, big data. They were incurring huge cost on database management systems. Strategic open source requirement, there is a mandate from the state or the central government that you have to go for open standards. Unhappy with the attitude of the existing vendor, which was a big reason for us to get an entry into an account. Vendor flexibility, because we are quite flexible. We can do a lot of customization. We can work out a lot of workarounds, even if it is not there in the database, which flexibility is not there with others. So in fact, so this is just an example. If you see, when a customer goes for migration, the savings are huge. The only extra saving is the change management cost. So when we do a migration assessment, we give a complete analysis in the form of a hard copy of a report, where the customer appoints a single point of contact from his side, and our person does the migration. We arrive at a report that this is the cost you are saving on running your hardware and software management. This is the cost you save on the operating system changeover. Then we also give him that what is the change management cost, which helps the customer to arrive at the decision whether he wants to go for, want to go for the migration or not. So we have got in-memory, you can say database, computation. We have got migration, assessment. All these things are there. So we see the biggest advantage is that you can migrate to or from, you can migrate, replicate and connect to from Postgres plus database. That is our biggest advantage. So today, if customer is quite skeptical that he may not migrate the whole application, if he wants to scale his databases for the new database instances, he can go for our database, which will work as effectively as that the current database would work with in the setup. And he can also go for the complete changeover from the current database to the other database. So we were also HP Alliance One's Partner of the Year for Mission Critical Applications in 2013, and we have we have Sales and Technology Partner in Red Hat. We have also partnership with IBM. So I think these are the key points which I just wanted to communicate to all of you, and I would request that if you have any kind of help which you desire, we have team, we have 2 of our colleagues who are, one of them is also a member of the PostgreSQL community, so you can always go to him, and whatever clarifications you want to have, if you're facing any problem where you want to take his help to stabilize your setup, you can please discuss with him. And we are there for the 2 days, so we would like, because we have also been rated by Gartner as the fastest growing database company in the government vertical globally. So I think we would like to, help you arrive at a solution if you are having any problem on the database management side. And thank you so much.
Can succeed only if people have a lot of confidence in it. Unfortunately, the level of confidence in the present governments all around, state governments or the central government, has been very low. And in case you have to build the confidence, then you have to deliver what people want. People want transparent service, they want quality service, and they want quick service. To match up to this demand from the people side, you have to gear up and you have to give these services. Mr. Thapalial has presented you a big list of items that he has with him. You can pick and choose. A huge amount of data is required for most of the services that you have to deliver to public. With his very short presentation, I think all of you must have got a feel of what he can offer to you. Now we move on to Director IT Mission, Kerala Government, Mr. Safirullah.
I'd just like to briefly share thoughts about e-governance and how it is transforming the kind of services that state governments and central government is giving to the citizens. If we can broadly look the e-governance, the entire spectrum, we can categorize into 3 pillars. One being the core data infrastructure, which every government should have. The second, the core set of services which the government should provide. And the third category would be the common services. I'll just describe briefly how this things works. The core infrastructure, the first one, the core infrastructure pillar. Here we are talking about the state data centers, the state WANs, the other networks like National Knowledge Network, National Optic Fiber Networks, and the integration between them. It also includes the common service centers like we have Akshaya centers in Kerala. So this is a broad infrastructure, which is the first pillar which a government generally concentrates on. The second pillar or the second set of services is about e-procurement, your e-districts, your service delivery gateways, the common services which are there, wherein each department need not worry about developing these services. So they just, let us say they want to have a tender, they just come into the e-procurement system, they do the activity and exit. They want to have a service, they have a platform, whether it's a state delivery gateway or an e-district platform wherein they come and then they give the service. So these are the common set of services which a government generally has. The second pillar. The third pillar would be the common services which a government has, like citizens, the employee payrolls, like we have the Spark database, you have the emailing services. So these are all the common services. The entire perspective, if you can divide from the citizen and government perspective, is from a government perspective, the individual departments need not be bothered about thinking about the data centers, where to host, what is the technology, what is the connectivity, what platform I'll launch, how I'll launch. All they would have to generally talk about is their core business. And this IT part would be taken care by providing by these services. So that is a broad spectrum. That is from the government perspective. From a citizen perspective, as has been highlighted by various speakers, it is about fast services, reliable services, efficient services, and creating an accountability in the system. Almost majority of states in India have notified services, select set of services under Right to Services Act, wherein a citizen is entitled to receive a service within a few or the specified time. Now when this service is being launched in an e-government platform, everything becomes accountable. The olden days wherein the applications were submitted through paper and there was no accountability, no transparency, led to a lot of corruption, inconvenience to the end user. Those things, everything is avoided by this e-governance system. The citizen has faster access. So if you can broadly put it in 2 different words, it's like service anywhere and service anyhow. Anywhere is, I need not go to a specific village or a specific panchayat to take my service. I can go to internet. I can go to a common service center like Akshaya. In any way, anywhere, basically it's a mobile platform. The second aspect is anyhow. It's like I can go to internet, or if I still want to go through conventional mechanism, I can go to the mobile platform. So if you can broadly put in these perspectives, a citizen's aspiration summit. At government, we are talking about two ends of the spectrum. On one spectrum, one end, we have the citizens who are already there on 2G or 3G, and now they aspire for a service which is provided in 4G. That is on one end. On the other end, we are still grappling with infrastructure connectivity issues, setting up of high-end data centers, and things like that. The broad vision of Government of Kerala towards this, we have provided state-of-the-art 2 data centers, and a lot of these services like e-procurement, e-district, delivery gateways, Akshayas, CSCs networks in our state, these have been fine-tuned, and Kerala has been a leader in many of the e-governance schemes. And we have a lot of things to learn from other states. Many other states are doing well in few selected schemes. And we have also not performed well in few schemes. So I feel this conference would be learning for our department, and we are glad to be associated with it. And the detailed presentations will have avenues to share for the rest of the 2 days, and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Safirullah. Mr. Safirullah is Director, IT Mission, Government of Kerala. Let me inform you, he is a very young officer in the cadre of IAS. With just about 3 to 4 years experience in the field, he has come to the IT Mission. So naturally, you can make out the level of confidence the Government of Kerala has in him. With all his IT initiative, I am sure Kerala government will bag more prizes, more awards in the future to come. Let's now move on to the industry sector, the presentations on industry. Can we go to Rajiv first?
I welcome you all on behalf of ICICI Bank, India's largest bank in private sector space and second largest bank of this country. The questions of the day, what we ask, why we on e-governance space, why we are, how we can move forward, and what ICICI Bank is doing in this space. What is India? India is 1.2 billion people and their aspirations. Technology is going to help them to achieve those aspirations. Right from the place of birth in their entire life cycle. Be it education, be it health, be it the processing of their annuities, and maybe some of the services in last stages like death certificate. Some of these services probably will come free, but for other services they have to pay, people have to pay. We are here to help the industry to process those payments, and more importantly, reduce the overall cost of the collection so that the cost of this benefit can be passed on to the end consumers. Because technology is going to help them to reduce the overall cost of collection. Services are intergovernment, interdependent, various agencies are involved, and the consumer or public at large has to depend on those services, depend on those agencies for those services. These are from the point of view of citizen to business or citizen to government. Citizen is lost, or we can say business. lot of service providers, lot of services, lot of technologies, and multiple technologies are playing at various levels. Now, one efforts what we are taking is that convergence of these technologies so that technology works around the payment, and as far as possible the informations are captured at a single place, so that multiple input of informations are reduced in the system. I'll give you an example. We are working with some of the state government in National Rural Health Mission, and we are help them. They sending money across various levels, from state to district, district to taluka, taluka to panchayat, at various levels. There are multiple applications which are happening. So maybe at a state level or district level you have manpower, but once you move beyond district level, there is a resource, you have minimum resources available, and they have to work with the multiple applications. Same data are being entered in various applications. The e-governance player or e-governance, all those technology people, there is a need to understand that we have to make technology work in convergence. That there should be convergence of technology at this place where probably data needs to be converged, data needs to be taken from one single source and reported to a multiple location. Cost of service will reduce if we are going to help and reduce multiple data entries. Now, what is required? While a lot of efforts are happening by state government and central government to bring all technologies in under one space, and these technologies are available for the users. There are multiple access points are available to the customers, be it customer service centers, online space, and multiple banks are providing access point. And these resource centers or data centers are being integrated with various ministries or particularly various service providers like health, education, rural development. What as a bank we are doing is we are helping them to process the payment, be it online, offline. When we say online, multiple channels, so that the user at his end, he is not perturbed that what channel he is using. And the beneficiary in this case, the department, the government department, gets a seamless information of all those transactions, whether it is coming from an online channel, or whether it is coming from an online channel, or whether it is coming from an ATM, or whether it is coming from a CSC, or whether it is coming from a bank branch. The challenge what we see here is that multiple, as I said earlier, multiple technologies operating at multiple levels. These technologies don't talk to each other, and redundancy is being built in the system. We go to a department, we create our own technology, give them a complete different system. Some other department is using the same system but at a different platform. What ICICI Bank is playing? ICICI has expertise, of course, in banking and information technology. We have been in the forefront of IT initiatives, some of the biggest IT initiatives and IT revolution of this country on the payment side, be it ATM, be it online banking. We have understanding of the government processes, and we are building this knowledge both in technology and government processes to give advisory and ensure end-to-end implementation of the projects. Some of the projects which has created value is one of the applications what we have built, particularly in the government sector, is government internet banking. Now this is a unique application which we have positioned for government department, where you are able to transfer fund between various levels, and you are able to monitor the usage of those funds across all levels. Now, be it taluka, be it panchayat, whatever money is being moved and whatever outcome is happening out of that money, that can be monitored at various levels. In addition to that, there is an efficient transfer of fund which happens seamlessly. Around 8 states currently are using this application. This is the e-governance application, workflow-based approach where you have makers and checkers who does the transaction at various levels. This application is integrated with the financial applications such as Tally and all, which gives them immediate. As I was saying, that data entry is happening at one location, and this entire data is being used at various levels to give a report in the relevant format to whichever department need as per their format. So you have that data capture at one location, no multiple data entry. In fact, the balance sheet comes out through Tally using the data entered in our application. So there is no different or there is no another data entry in your financial applications. We are also associated with DBT initiative of the Government of India and Public Finance Management System. This application is integrated with PFMS, and there is a seamless data exchange happening between PFMS and our application. We are leveraging the mobile space as well. Some of the applications we have built are being used in service delivery in Indira Awas Yojana and Rajiv Awas Yojana in some of the states. We are leveraging mobile application not only for information capturing but also for payment processing. So payment processing also can happen through mobile. Some of the state-of-art technology you must have gone through recently seen in the newspaper. We are one of the bank which is providing clearing services for e-toll activity to NHI. That means entire NHI, I think there is, picture is not. So, in near future, you are going to have a single card which will help you to pass through all NHI toll across the country. And the clearing house services has been given by ICICI Bank. Similarly, we are participating in big way in e-tender and e-auction processes across the country. We are a privileged partner to Government of Karnataka in financial settlement for the re-tendering activity, but we are more proud in the way that we are helping to process payment at district level in Government of Maharashtra. The send auction, entire send auction payment processing is happening through us. So idea is to scale technology, bring it nearer to the citizen at lower level. End-to-end solutions we are giving end-to-end solutions for data processing in lot of schemes, government schemes, housing schemes, where citizen is able to apply for those schemes online, his application is being processed online, and the payment is being given online. The lottery happens online, and if you lose in the lottery, the refund happens also online. This has been recently done in one of the development authority in Delhi, and the result has been quite successful. Some of the solutions in closed user group card we have given to the Government of India. These like Delhi Metro and some of the other travels, we have given one solution in UP State Road Transport, where the monthly pass is being used on a card which can be topped up using online applications. If you happen to break rules in Hyderabad in traffic, the payment can be paid, which I you should not do, but then you can pay your challan online, and Hyderabad police will ensure that you make payment at real time there itself. The figure is not coming, I'm sorry for that, but so answer is that we just need to grab this opportunity. The new government is very focused and large opportunities there. And technology is right, the technology is available here, which is going to help us and which is going to help us to process payment faster. Be it online space, be it offline space. But more importantly, it will cut the overall cost of collection. So the cost of collection before the implementation of our technology is X, probably you will be able to reach 20 to 30% in overall cost of the collection. Thank you. That's from us. Thank you.
The inauguration is to provide services to people. In most of the services, they have to be charged. If they have to be charged, you receive a system, you need a system where you receive the charges and pass on to the government. At the same time, if you have to pay something to the people, you have to receive it from the government and pass on to the people. ICICI Bank has entered the government business in a big way. In fact, they have a group called GBG, Government Business Group. Till now, ICICI Bank had not ventured in the rural areas for agriculturists. But in Maharashtra, they have gone in a big way in helping the farmers also in agricultural loans. They have given to you what services they can offer, what are the systems they can offer. Some examples he has shown. Thanks, Rajiv. Now we move on to the Senior Program Officer, Transport and ICT, World Bank, Mr. Petrov. You'll have 10 to 12 minutes because Honorable Minister from Government of Kerala is here for the inauguration.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm very pleased and honored to be here. I always take every opportunity to visit India and renew our collaboration. World Bank is a major partner for the Government of India and many other stakeholders, so I'm very pleased that this is another opportunity to collaborate here in Kovala, my first visit. I'm very impressed by the beauty of this city and the wonderful hotel we're staying at. Thank you very much to the organizers for inviting us. We'll actually have two separate sessions this evening and tomorrow, and so I will keep this short to just introduce you the subject I wanted to discuss in more detail this evening, which is transforming the landscape of e-government and public sector reform in the recent years. And it's at the crossroads of two major trends. One is being called data revolution, and the other is called digital government, which you all heard about. So I will just give you a brief introduction to the topic. Data revolution is a term which was coined by the UN high-level working group in the context of preparation of the next round of Millennium Development Goals, which are called Sustainable Development Goals. It was realized that to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, it is important to have much better access to information and to data about poverty, about health, education, etc. So the data-driven development becomes the next paradigm for sustainable development. And we're seeing today exponential growth of data in the last 10-15 years, which allows us to talk about this data revolution. So the UN Secretary General is a major champion of this data revolution. He convened a high-level advisory group, which has just published a report on the data revolution. Actually, it came out, I think, yesterday or day before yesterday. And the role of technology has been emphasized as a key enabler for this data revolution. specific quote from the panel was, "We call for a data revolution, sustainable development with a new international initiative to improve the quality of statistics and information available to citizens. We should actively take advantage of new technology, crowdsourcing, and improve connectivity to empower people with information on the progress towards the targets." European Union is also a big champion of this data revolution. Neil Lacrosse, the former vice president, who just left her role just a week ago, Neil Lacrosse has called data as a new gold. Others call it the new oil and other such terms. So they're talking about data-driven development. Another major trend, which is being enabled by data and open data especially, is this smart digital government. You have all been witnessing the evolution of the public sector transformation using ICT. So 15, 20 years ago, we were talking about informatization, computerization, this kind of stuff. Last 5, 10 years, we talk about e-government, e-transformation, more recently open government. Today, we keep hearing more and more about smart government, digital government. So this is a new emerging model. So let's just look at it, what this involves, this new paradigm. So when you talk about smart government, for me it's basically about doing more with less, which means focusing on effectiveness, on results, and trying to achieve that with as fewer resources as possible. So really focusing on efficiency and cost savings. So I think that's the main principle of smart government. But also the other features of smart government is a more open government, more sustainable service delivery, more secure, focusing on cybersecurity, faster, like more real-time service delivery, and also more inclusive and personalized delivery. The other side of the coin of the e-government 3.0, if you like, is the digital government. So this has been term used in major countries in Europe, United States, Canada, etc., Australia. So there are several principles of digital government which I wanted to emphasize. First of all, it's a data-driven government. So it's not document-driven, it's a digital data-driven. So it's about data exchange, right? It's very important to keep in mind. The second principle is it's a digital by default. So at this stage of the government, major focus is giving to digital delivery versus offline, analog delivery. For example, what was a big feature of the previous model, the citizen service centers, is being phased out and replaced by digital delivery by default. The third principle is open by design, and I will talk about it more after this. So the idea is that openness becomes a key characteristic of information system. So it's not an afterthought, something you do after you design the system, but it includes openness of data which will be generated by the information system at the architecture, at the design phase. The other principle is mobile first, so giving priority to mobile delivery versus online web delivery or offline delivery. The other principle is cloud first. So we've heard about cloud computing today, so it's not a new trend, but it's become very mature now. And I don't need to explain what it is because you're all very educated experts here. The other trend is extremely high degree of centralization and integration, which it's an old trend, but at this stage it becomes extremely important. And finally, last but not least, is the engaging citizens and other stakeholders in open innovation ecosystem for public service design. So I wanted to discuss briefly about the open data, the role of open data. But as I said, there will be a session this evening, I think it's at 5:30, where we will have a special session on open government data for smarter government. First of all, I just wanted to explain what it is and what it's not. So open data is, first of all, it's technically open data. So it should be easily findable online and available in editable electronic formats or an API. So formats such as XLS, JSON, TXT, CSV, HTML, API, etc. are examples of technically machine-readable formats, technically open formats. PDF, images, other proprietary formats are not open data. So if you have data in those formats, your data is not open. Second, open data is legally open. So you can reuse it freely, you can redistribute it freely, and it's licensed for both commercial and non-commercial purposes, no restrictions. Open data is a global phenomenon. So there are over 250 governments, I would say at least 70 countries are pursuing the open data initiatives. And of course, World Bank is a partner for many of them. There are several global indexes which evaluate the progress of countries in open data. One is called Open Data Index, maintained by Open Knowledge Foundation. The next one is coming out shortly. This is the diagram from the last year's index, which had 70 countries only. I think they have been adding a lot more this year. It measures the progress on opening key data sets. There are 10 types of data which are being measured. The other major global index measuring progress of open data, open government data, is Open Data Barometer, which is maintained by the Web Foundation and the Open Data Institute. It also measures availability of data, but also other factors, so it's a broader measure. India is a part of that index. Last year it was number 34, and as you can see from this infographic, India is doing pretty well on census, government budget, international trade, health, education, environmental statistics, and can do a bit better on other types of data. Personally, I'm very excited about open data. I've been working on ICT for developing the government for the last 15 years at the World Bank. I've been following, trends and coming to India to learn from your success stories and share it with others. I'm the knowledge sharing coordinator for the World Bank on ICT, but more recently I've been focusing a lot on open data. I'm coordinating a global practice for open government data at the World Bank, and I feel this is the next big thing. And of course, the big data is another major trend coming up, which we are starting to focus on. It's the excitement about open data is not about openness and transparency. That's a given. What is really exciting is it's very empowering. It's empowering businesses to create new services, new products, new jobs, grow the economy as a result. It empowers citizens to be more active, more effective citizens, to demand better services from government and from the private sector. So it's a tool for smarter development, economic growth. That's what I find most exciting. And I'm not alone. I mean, as a good company, I have the rich prime ministers who are big champions, and I say big champions of open data. They have been focusing on both governance and economic growth opportunities. Let me see if the US President Barack Obama also has been focusing quite a bit on open data, and he's been particularly pushing the economic growth agenda. The economic opportunity has been evaluated by different think tanks. European Union evaluated the potential for European Union countries of 206 billion euro per year of opening government data. Economists run a special coverage of open data and called the open data as a new gold mine. McKinsey had a study evaluating annual economic value of open government data as a $3 to $5 trillion opportunity. Private sector is already taking advantage of open data. Many companies are being formed in the West especially, but also in India, taking advantage of government data and growing very fast, creating multi-billion-dollar enterprises. Climate corporations, Zillow, Weather.com, iTriage are just examples of such companies. UK has been a leader in this space. Transport London has seen 58-to-1 return on investment after they opened the data. Over 500 apps were created in London transport space after the government opened the data. Government saved £1 million per year they were spending on their own app, which became redundant. In UK, they have saved lives opening data by opening heart surgery statistics and specific data about specific doctors. They were able to save 1,000 lives because people were choosing better surgeons, and the surgeons which were at the bottom of the list felt tremendous pressure to improve, and they did improve. Macedonia has used open data to reduce the use of pesticides by 30%. So this opportunity is for everyone to take, including for India. If we extrapolate this $3 trillion global opportunity to India, given the size of GDP, we're talking about billions of dollars which could be pursued here in India. Of course, we can argue about the methodology, but nobody argues about the potential. So as I said, we'll have a session on open government data tonight. At the timing, I think, will be announced by the organizers more specifically. But if you are interested to learn more how we can support all of you on open government data for smarter government and citizen engagement, we are welcome to continue the discussion. And tomorrow, we would like to talk to you tomorrow evening about the new flagship report which the World Bank is putting together called Internet for Development. It's the first time the World Bank has focused on Internet and ICT as a transformational force for development. Every year we publish such reports. Never in the history of the World Bank we covered this topic. So it's very symbolic that in 2015, 2016, World Bank has refocused on the role of ICT for development for better governance. So we invite you to discuss what should be the priorities for this report and examples of best practices from India which we should showcase in this report. Thank you very much. Here's my email and Skype and Twitter account, so please let's discuss how we can collaborate. Thank you. And my colleague Saki is there, who will be joining us for the evening sessions. Saki, could you? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Petrov. Is offered to you now. Now, Honorable Minister from Kerala is here, so I'll just wind it up in 2 minutes. As I said, more than about 20 states have now gone in for Public Service Delivery Act. If you take about 100 services from each of the governments, state governments, it will multiply to 2,000. In case all the state governments do not have the same uniform system of providing services, you can see the opportunities for the private sector here, 2,000 services across the country. If it is at different levels and different forms. So the entire group present here, you will see the opportunity in the next 2 days, what is available to you from the private sector. Government functionaries can see what is available to them from the private sector, and private sector can see what is available to them from different government representatives. If you take that, if you keep that in mind, I am sure in a very short time, the public service delivery will be assured, not only in the Act, but also in practice. Thank you very much. Now I hand over to Mr. Karthik Sharma.
Team and Additional Chief Secretary, Planning, Government of Maharashtra. A round of applause for our speakers, please, and all the esteemed